But after that, it's a full range, and the common issue would be personal growth. There's something nagging. They feel incomplete. Something, a lot of things, or something is not working. They're feeling a call to improve, but not in the old ways. Not just get better at accomplishing or achieving, but rather expanding their perspective and reaching a peace within. So, and like I say, I don't try to tell the other person exactly how to do it. I try to listen with them. There's wisdom emerging from within them that they need to start being able to hear and grasp. So I can accompany them on that journey. Sometimes I'm pretty familiar with exactly what they're going through. Other times I'm just open, and I'm there as a companion on the journey that is truly coming from within them. And that's the secret, I think. We just have to acknowledge it's from within us that all this is going to happen.
Right. So do you subscribe to the philosophy that it makes absolute sense for people to find out who they really are, and then find out that one reason they came here to experience, that the passion that they came here to perfect, like you have, and then give it back to the masses? Do you subscribe to that?
Well, that's the way I experience this. A very natural next step. I love, there's a gratification that comes from sharing, because you're participating in a way that, it's like I say, in love, you experience the most love as it comes through you and you're giving it. The more you can give, the more that's coming from an infinite reservoir, and the more that you can offer, whether it be joy or love or sharing or healing. If you're tapping into a pretty essential universal nature, certainly the one, we're talking about what I would be doing, I'm benefiting greatly. I'm learning, I'm sharing, I'm benefiting as I try to be that companion and collaborator for the client that's growing. So, yeah.
Fantastic. So do you also have this experience, Jim, that when you are in a dialogue with them, that it's almost like they have their blinders on, and when they're in front of you and then you have an opportunity to dialogue with them, you may feel or hear things that it's like turning on the light.
Absolutely. It reminds me of one lady I was working with, and she wanted to work on handling her anger better when these jerks cut her off on the in front of her in the freeway. And I listened to that, and this was a very lovely person. And where we've moved to, it's not it's not like how do you handle your anger better when jerks cut you off. It's when you reach a place of peace that there's no jerks cutting you off. That doesn't even happen the way you thought you were perceiving it, So there's a pretty big transition in something like that.
It's almost like that there's no room for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't show up.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we should probably, we talked about gurus before and ashrams, but we'll probably do a little explanation for our viewers what those things are, because a lot of people may not know.
That's interesting. Yeah.
You and I are comfortable with that.
Yeah.
But, I've been in meetings and I've been at parties where I mentioned those words and people just went, What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What's that?
And I would also, for 19 years, I was a strict vegetarian during some of my best business years. And I mean, no eggs, no trace of anything. Every business lunch I went to, I had to go through all these questions. And I always, I've had to develop a way to be among people who certainly didn't know what a guru or an ashram was, and I might have been a little different than them, and how to handle it easily. And it's always worked. I've never had a problem. But there's an inner sense for me how I probably can know some people for 20 years, have a great relationship, and never mention anything you and I are talking about right now. And then within 3 minutes, I can meet somebody else like you and I have been talking, and we're just there talking about all this stuff. So there's a, sort of an intuitive guidance about how much I want to bring up. So, but an ashram is a place where people go to reflect and meditate and seek, however they might, term it, God or Brahm, and whatever it might be. It's a renunciate's place where you're protected and shut off from the outer world. It could be like a monastery. That's a word maybe people would also recognize. So, but my paths have always been, okay, spend your time here, now go back out into the world. That's where you're going to learn your lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was young, Jim, I grew up in a communist country in Hungary, and I was very rebellious. And what I learned in the ashram that I was part of is discipline.
Yeah.
And I'm forever grateful to have that experience.
Absolutely. I feel so grateful. I say I meditate daily. I might miss 1 or 2 days a year, maybe, and there's been many years I haven't missed a single day. And it for me, it's not even exactly discipline. It's just what I do. But I also have the ability to sort of garner my forces and stick with what I think is a good thing to do. And also discipline helps me have boundaries and understand what needs to be dropped. Like, gosh, I got started on this. This is not what I thought it was. You need to let go also. So, discipline. Yeah, that's a, in fact, I just now remembered, I think in the early 80s, I used to even say, and I always got a perplexed look on the face of others, but I'd say freedom through discipline. It was just simple, discipline in the right areas of your life. It really gives you a lot of freedom, actually. So,
yeah, I don't practice these things anymore, but I